Hi, this is Miss Flores here, science lesson. So this week, our lesson is going to consist about learning all about adaptations. So I'm going to give you an example. Here in South Texas, we have lots of different weather. So today outside, it's pretty sunny outside. So what I put on was a short sleeve shirt. Why did I put on a short sleeve shirt? Well, I put this shirt on. It's a nice light cotton shirt because of the weather outside. I am putting on suitable clothes so I can adapt myself to the weather that is outside. In the winter, if it's freezing cold outside, what would I do to adapt myself to the cold weather? Good. If you said something like put on a jacket or put on a nice thick coat, you're right. That is an adaptation that I am doing to adapt myself to survive outside. Well, plants and animals also have adaptations as well. In our lesson today, we are going to learn about finches. A finch is a type of bird, and we are going to learn about Charles Darwin as well. He was a very important person who made a great discovery about finches and adaptations. So let's go ahead and read. Darwin's finches. Charles Darwin was born in England in 1809. As a boy, he loved science and nature. He spent most of his days outside. He collected plants and small animals. Charles and had a friend named John. He knew that Charles loved nature. One day, he sent Charles a letter. He told him about a ship. It was called the HMS Beagle. It was about to set sail to South America. The captain was looking for a naturalist. A naturalist is someone who studies nature. Charles signed up right away. The crew's job would be to make maps for the places they visited. His job would be to see what kinds of plants and animals he could collect. The Beagle spent some time in South America. Then it set sail for some smaller islands. They were called the Galapagos Islands. They were hardly ever visited. They had some animals and plants that had never been studied before. Charles was amazed. He saw all different kinds of flowers and plants. He gathered all that he could. He even collected some small birds called finches. Charles showed these finches to a friend when he got back home. This friend knew a lot about birds. He told Charles that they were all part of the same family of birds. Charles didn't know why they looked so different. He thought about this for a while. Then he had an idea. He realized that the birds were different because they had adaptations to their different environments. This means that they had developed traits that would help them survive. For example, some of the finches had strong beaks. This let them crack nuts. Others had long, skinny beaks. This let them grasp insects. Charles wrote a book about what he discovered. It changed the way people thought and about how animals survive. It explained why animals can be similar in some ways, but different in others. Scientists still study these finches today. One has a beak that it uses to peck at other birds. Then it drinks up the blood. It is called the vampire finch. Another finch has a long beak. It sticks it into cactus flowers to hunt for insects. Another is the woodpecker finch. It is one of the only birds in the world that is known to use tools. It finds a small twig or cactus spine. Then the finch uses it to dig under tree bark for insects. People still call the finches of the Galapagos Island Darwin's finches. They are little birds, but have had a big impact on science. Let's go ahead and go to question number 1. Question number 1 says, a naturalist, second paragraph, would probably observe plants and animals in their habitat, take notes about animal behavior and traits, read books about plants and animals, or D, all the above. Let's go back to paragraph number 2 and reread that. Charles had a friend named John. He knew that Charles loved nature. One day, he sent Charles a letter. He told him about a ship. It was called the HMS Beagle. It was about to set sail to South America. The captain was looking for a naturalist. A naturalist is someone who studies nature. Okay. Let's go back to question number 1. Someone who studies nature. So if you're studying nature and you like to study all about nature, you are going to observe plants and animals in their habitat. You are also going to read books about plants and animals because you like to study about animals and plants. And B, take notes about animal behaviors and traits. So that's why he went on the ship. He went on the ship because he was going to learn all about the different plants and animals where the ship was going. So your answer would be D. Number 2. Why do the finches have so many different kinds of beaks? Well, I know he said that some of the finches went to a different island. And I know some finches had a long, thin, skinny beak, and that was to eat insects. But then some had adapted and had a short, thick beak to eat seeds. Let's look at my answer choices. A, so they could tell each other apart. B, because they all eat the same food, but in different ways. C, to help them survive in different environments. Or D, finches do not have different beaks. Well, I already know that D is completely out of the question. I'm going to mark that off because we learned that finches have many different beaks to eat different things. So I know that D is not my answer, and I know that B is not my answer because B states they all eat the same food. Well, we learned that they eat different foods. So our last 2 answer choices are A and C. So they can tell each other apart or to help them survive in different environments. If you said C, it's correct. So just like I put on a jacket when it's cold or put on a short sleeve when it's hot, I'm adapting to my environment outside. So did the birds. The birds had to adapt to the environment that they were in. So the beaks had adapted to a shorter beak that was thicker so it could break the seeds. And that was because seeds was now the food in that island that they had to survive on, that they had to eat. Let's go ahead and read number 3. An adaptation in your 6th paragraph is a trait that does not have a purpose. B, a trait that helps an animal survive in its environment. C, a special kind of beak. Or D, a type of finch. So let's go back to our 6th paragraph. And it reads, he realized that the birds were different because they had adaptations to their different environments. I'm going to read the next paragraph because it also helps me to understand that vocabulary word. This means that they had developed traits that would help them to survive. Okay? Well, I know A is not my answer because that says it doesn't have any purpose. I know that's completely wrong. A trait that helps an animal survive in its environment. I think that's exactly what I read up there in paragraph 6. So your answer is B. Number 4. Another good title for this passage would be The HMS Beagle, the Galapagos Island, Finches and their adaptations, Charles Darwin, Boy Wonder. So if you could find another title with one of those answer choices for this passage, what would it be? What would your answer be? What was the passage mainly about? Number 5. Why are the finches known as Darwin's finches? Because Charles Darwin owned them all? Because the finches helped Charles Darwin make a great discovery? Because Charles Darwin loved finches better than any kind of birds? Because finches needed a name. Okay, well, there's all different kinds of finches. They all have different kinds of names. So I know that D was not my answer. And I know that Charles Darwin did not own all the finches in the world. So that's leaving me with only answer choice B or D. Why do you think the finches were known as Darwin's finches? So I hope you enjoyed your story, Darwin's Finches. And I hope you were able to understand why Darwin made a great discovery about finches and what he learned and taught the world about finches and their adaptations, mainly by their beaks. So, can you think of any other animals that have adaptations that help them to survive? We'll see you next time.